Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're listening to the Ask Brien radio show on KHTS 1220 AM, 98.1 FM. All right, we're already done this show for over 7 years. And I want to thank the engineer.
Thank you.
All right.
Happy
Thanks,
to do
Jen.
it. Happy to do it.
She hasn't been here for 7 years, but
I have not, no.
but sometimes after the show she goes, Peter, I feel like I've been here for 7 years.
You age me a little bit, yeah. Well, let's be honest. That's okay though. It's good. It's good
Absolutely.
for you. Get your it keeps you on your toes.
Exactly. And when I'm on my toes, I'm almost 5'5".
Oh yeah.
I'm a tall guy.
You are.
All right. So, couple of things. The Ask Brien show, besides being on the air for 7 years, Ask Brien is spelled ASKBRIEN. We don't spell it with an A. We don't spell Brien, BRYAN, and BRIAN. It's BRIEN. And each week we have an episode for 1 hour where we either interview somebody who's a founder of a business so we can learn how they created their business from A to Z, or they have a special skill level on something like Facebook advertising or it could be any skill, a legal skill, whatever. And so we either go for one or two categories. Today, we got both.
Ooh, I like that.
Our guest today has both. He's going to be able to teach us something about business, and he's also going to teach us his story about how you can succeed in life.
That's great.
But, some people want to know why Brien is spelled with an E. I'm going to start it out, and then Jen's going to help me out here.
Okay. There's many reasons.
Many, many reasons, but the main reason, besides the engineer.
Yes, of course. Well, that's
Obviously.
number one, obviously. Yes, of course.
Is our show tries to educate people. We're a teaching program, and if we can teach you something where you can learn by following somebody's success story, wow, if I can do it this way, I now have a plan. Or B, hey, I'm trying to learn what about Pinterest. I've never did Pinterest before. I don't know what it is, and I don't understand how a picture can make me money, but some person's on the show and teaches you that. That's another reason. So education is really, really big. Now, on the Ask Brien network, which is ASKBRIEN, they have what's called an expert, and that's another E. Now, experts, we've determined that typically, if you're working 40 hours a week and you're working 50 weeks a year, that's 2,000 hours times 5 years. That's 10,000 hours. Typically, after 5 years experience, you can probably know something about a subject where you can talk about it, and basically almost every issue has come up. There's always new issues, but you pretty much have learned it, and that's why we use the 10,000 hour requirement, but that 10,000 hours is different when you're dealing with another E, entrepreneurs, which basically, if you could work 40 hours a week, anyone would say, hallelujah. Because the reality is, when you're an entrepreneur, when you got your business going, when you're a one-man show, one-woman show, it's going to take a while to get kicking. And basically, you're going to be starting out maybe working 80 hours a week. So probably in 2.5 years, if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to get there. Now, I did hear that Tracy's on the line. Tracy, are you in the house?
Is there an E for late?
Yes, it's at the E. It's at the end of late.
Yeah, I came in at the end of the E's, but
No, you did not.
I made it.
No, you did not. We only did a couple of E's. We did engineer,
Yay.
education, expert. That's all we've done.
You're fashionably late. It's okay.
You know what? I might want to make a habit of this so I don't have to do the mathematical formula.
No, but you know what you did not miss is where he blows out this poor microphone with his yelling. You did not miss that.
Where we talk about his enthusiasm.
Now you warned the guest. Now the guest is going to know.
Oh, he should be prepared.
Well, I think that we should do the E for empathy part, because that's the part that Jennifer was trying to establish to our guests and other people that they may have their ear blown out, which also begins with an E. Ear.
Yes. Well, I'm appreciative of the empathy for me and like being stuck on a webinar with multiple other people and not being able to exit gracefully, and that's another E.
And I have no clue what empathy means, but I heard about it. Somebody once told me. Anyway, what are the other E's, Tracy?
Well, I mean, I do realize that there is something to be said for the level of enthusiasm that we're bringing to the show, and one, of course, that you love so much.
Excitement! Woo-hoo!
Yes, and education. So
we did education already, but that's...
oh, okay. Well, see, I'm just a mess. That's what I am.
There is an E in mess, you know, MESS.
Yes, exactly. Okay, well, then why don't you just kick me my favorite one? Don't kick me literally, but tee me up for my favorite one, and let's meet our expert. How about that?
Okay, that sounds about ready, because we probably need the experts probably saying, why did I go on this show and how did I get here? And I can't believe that I'm on here, but I am. All right, so they have that. Everyone who's ever watched or listened to Grease, the show Grease, the movie Grease, Grease lightning is what?
It is electrifying, just like us, or so we say.
All right. You like that laugh?
He's laughing in jest.
I am a jest. In fact, I'm going to become a jest.
We are electrifying in our own minds. We know that for sure.
All right. Well, we do have some serious stuff to go over. And Clayton, are you still there, or did you say, I'm out of here, goodbye? I don't know why
I'm here.
So, Clayton, many people don't know your background. We've had a discussion before past. So first of all, just go over quickly about a little bit about your background, and then we'll get into what you're currently doing and how we can help people out.
Yeah, so I'm a former Navy navigator, gone corporate America IT system engineer, gone entrepreneur. I have a background in system engineering and business process automation, and I worked in corporate America for a few years, and then I bought some businesses, one of which was Contractor Training Center, and I just sold that one last year. And I built it up from a single state contractor license exam prep and the application assistance company to a nationally dominant brand. And I just sold it last year. And now I started Leadly.com, and I help companies with their marketing automation, using AI chat technology in capturing leads and missed phone calls. And it helps companies with, who are, smaller businesses who are, busy working, don't have time to answer every phone call or answer every email or web inquiry, social media inquiry. Leadly does that for them. So and I'm having a good time doing it.
First of all, spell Leadly.
LEEDLY.com.
Okay. And so before we get into Leadly, I do want to go a little bit about this contract. What was the name of this contractor teaching business?
ContractorTrainingCompany.com. ContractorTrainingCenter.com. Excuse me. My dog hit me. I have, it's a national contractor training and education company. If you want to get your contractor's license, there's a ton of steps you need to go through to get your contractor's license. And as you guys are in California, it's one of the toughest states. And we do everything from the business process side on the application side and getting you your business license, your contractor's license, to getting you prepped to take the exam, the contractor exam. And then after you take the contractor exam, every state has a requirement that every year or two you need to take continuing education. We also offer continuing education for everything from building and construction, commercial, residential, to the trades, HVAC, plumbers, electricians.
So when did you get involved in that business?
I was helping my client, Bob Gregory, who had started the company, and I was helping him with his technology and web and driving traffic to him. And then one day he said, I'm tired of paying you all this money. Why don't you just buy it from me? And I said, you know what? I like this company, and I could probably do this, and it helps a lot of people. So I bought it. And for 2 years, I basically bootstrapped it and built new courses. I hired new course development teams, and we started launching all these new courses to help contractors in multiple states. And then we added on our application processing assistance, where we help contractors get their applications through the state bureaus, and they get approved on the first application. very important if you're in time crunch, and just got very successful at automating the whole process, and then using everything we could, best of breed technologies and Google ads, a mix of Google ads, Facebook ads, a little SEO. We became the national dominant brand in just a couple of years. We and still are ranked top #1 for client satisfaction, and it was a very good ride. It's been a lot of fun helping a lot of contractors get their license and continue education.
So to go from one state, which is where it was, to 50 states, unless you're spending, I don't know, tons and tons of money on Google. I mean, how did you build that out to even get to that point? Because you didn't have millions on day one. Maybe you did, but I mean, how did you get from, okay, I'm in one state and I want to be in 50 states? There's got to be a process. You're a process guy, right?
Yes, absolutely. And it's very, there is a strategy and process, and it is expensive. I didn't need millions. I just didn't take a paycheck for a couple of years. And what I did was, I'm also a business consultant, and I help companies with their business and marketing automation. So I've always had my hand in helping other companies with their business marketing and process, and getting leads and converting leads and sales process. So I kept that going. I've always been doing that. So I relied on that income while I took all the contractor training income and just kept putting it back into the business. And you're exactly right. I put it all back into Google. And I kept driving traffic, and I'd use my salary to hire a course developer to help me write more courses and launch more practice tests. And it was very successful. So 2 years of no paycheck, and I was able to grow it. Within 2 years, we were #1, and we just exploded. And that was a really fun ride. And we started getting 5-star reviews on Google day after day. It was amazing. And it's always fun when you're helping somebody and they call you and go, "Thank you, I passed the test. I love you guys." That was a big reward.
So before we go into the lead for the rest of the show, I want to know, what was your biggest challenge and how did you overcome it?
Biggest challenge is always the technology and the building, starting something that's, scalable and helps a lot of people. You want to make sure that your process and automation is correct and all your SOPs, standard operating procedures, are correct, so that when you start scaling and running Google ads and Facebook ads, that you're ready for the business and you're able to onboard clients smoothly. That means that the first, when we first started, I told my first handful of clients who are also colleagues and friends, I said, "Look, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to get you fix your automation, for your web visitors and for your missed phone calls. But you're going to be a beta client. You're going to help us. You're going to tell us what's working and what's not working, and you're not going to yell at us if something doesn't work correctly." And they all agreed, and we worked out the kinks for 6 months and learned what we're good at, learned what we're not good at, and we tweaked and turned, and we got really good at making the bot work correctly and scheduling correctly and making companies happy. And once again, I had a call with a client last week who does a co-working space, and the Leadly automatically schedules their tours for them, so new client tours, and instead of having to do phone callbacks and emails and back and forth, Leadly automatically books an appointment for them. People just show up and they're like, "Hey, I'm here for my 8:30 tour," and they're like, "Oh yes, we got you on the calendar," and they love it. It's just amazing how automation works now.
So Leadly was started exclusively by you, or did you have other founders?
Yeah, it was exclusive by me. I have a tech background, but I went and I hired the best of breed. I grabbed a couple of Google employees and people that are much smarter than me. And I said, "This is the vision. This is how it needs to work. Now let's get to work." And I did like Elon Musk, and I slept on the factory room floor for 6 months, and we banged it out and tested it and proved it and made it work until it's perfect. That's where we are now.
So it took about 6 months. Was this a software program that you created or something different?
Yeah, software with integration. So most of the softwares out there are already written. It's just making them talk to each other efficiently, making them talk to your website, making them interact with your phone, getting the language. It's all based on LLMs, language learning models. Getting the LLM correct and making sure it's trained and that it's, knows how to get smarter and ask better questions and learn from, new questions that it gets. So if you're a lawyer and you have this Leadly installed and somebody asks a technical legal question, it'll remember what the question was, and it'll go back and, we can train it and tell it, this is a good answer, this is not a good answer, and it gets smarter as it goes. So it's amazing how much AI is helping the small companies look big and automate the scheduling process.
So we have about 4 minutes before our break. I want you to go over the different features that your program has for Leadly.
That's a great question. I'm glad you asked. Leadly, it does everything from one of the most beneficial things it does is missed call text back, meaning a lot of companies aren't even answering the phones because there's so much spam coming through. So they rely on voicemails. Well, Leadly will answer the phone with the AI chat bot, and it'll see if we can qualify them depending on the customer and what they need. Do they need a service appointment? Do they need to pre-book a sales call? And if we can't get them through the bot and get them to book something on the voice, we'll do a missed call text back, and we'll text them back, say, sorry, we missed your call. How can we help you? Were you looking for a sales call, or you book a sales appointment or a pre-sales appointment, or do you need a service appointment? And just like I'm sure you've seen some other corporations that use texting efficiently, it converts that client, that customer, or that prospect to a book appointment, and people love it because it's so convenient. And that's what it is. Everybody's looking for convenience now, and that's one of them right there. The scheduling, the auto scheduling for the bot on your website. It'll also talk to your website visitors, say, hey, can we help you? And what are you looking for? And oh, yes, we handle this, or we do that. And here are 3 available slots for tomorrow, or would another day work for you? So it allows customers to book appointments in advance. It'll also even take a credit card payment. If you want to, swipe a credit card to book an appointment to prevent from the no-shows, Leadly will also ask them to enter credit card info so that they can ensure that they get an appointment and cuts down on no-shows. And that's been amazing for people in getting, and reputation management. When people go look for an HVAC company or a lawyer or a service company, first thing they do is they pull up Google Maps and they look for a service company in that area, in their zone. Then they look at your Google reviews, and then they look to see if they have Book Now. Like, that's what everybody wants to do. So Leadly has a Book Now button on your Google Maps page, and we also ask for reviews after the service so that it starts increasing your Google reviews so that you get seen more and you get ranked higher.
Wow, that's a lot of features. I want to go over some of those features before we continue. So, for instance, what if somebody has a landline and is calling? You can't do the text message back, so how would that work?
Yeah, that's a good question. And, it'll ask them if they want to go to text. And if they don't have if they're calling from a landline, it'll ask them if they want to enter an alternate number to go to text. And almost like the airlines do, like if you go to book an airline right now, most of the time they'll ask you to go to text if they, and it's an option, feature option, and we do the same thing. So if you're calling from a landline, you're not calling from text, we'll ask if you want to go to a text conversation. And that's very easily done, and people do opt in for that. A lot of people are opting out of talking to agents now or being put on hold.
So we have almost less than a minute. Now, my concern is on the payment, right? Because everybody's giving credit cards out. And so is that going through like a Square? I mean, you have to be integrated with the processor, right? And then you're taking the information. People are nervous nowadays because they want to make sure that they're not capturing the information. You're using bots and things. How does that work?
Yeah, it looks just like if you were at a Shopify store or on a banking app. It's all SSL encrypted. It'll show you the lock right there. It gives the customer all the guarantees that it's secure, encrypted transaction. Most everybody now understands that when they get that, they see that lock next to any website or transaction, they know that it's that it's valid. And most of the time, when you're taking a credit card payment for a pre-sale appointment or a book appointment, you're only collecting $25 or $100 for get a deposit to ensure that customer doesn't do a no-show. So you're not collecting thousands of dollars. You're only collecting a minimal fee, and usually to get that book appointment. and then you charge the balance of that appointment after the call is the way we usually see it utilized.
All right, we got to take a break. We'll be right back on KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM with Clayton Turner. Welcome back. You're listening to the Ask Brien radio show on KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. Like no other station in the world. Is that true, Jen?
That's very true. We are
think
very
so.
unique here.
We are very unique. We have a lot of qualms, but we are definitely unique.
No qualms here.
Tracy, you said you had some questions for Clayton, and you've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. So you're on.
Yes, because
Take it
somebody
away.
was long-winded. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, I just, like, one of the things that you said earlier really resonated with me in terms of the functionality, if you will, for if you're in the contracting service, because they're very geographically centered where they are, and the majority of their leads obviously are going to be in their geographic circumference. But how does lead generation, specifically with your program, how does that work for businesses that are more online, like coaches or consultants or people that don't have a geographic restriction?
Yeah, that's a great question. In fact, we have a coach consulting, what they call snapshot, which it basically loads up all the things that a coach and consultant would need, including the bot, training the bot about how to nurture a coaching or consulting client via web chat, via text, or via email. So we have that in our wheelhouse that we can help coaches and consultants and help them nurture those inquiries. And that's not limited, like you said, by geographic location. That's worldwide, and we have that. And it's specifically tailored to coaching and consultants to help them. Now, one other thing it does, and I didn't bring this up, is that you can run your Facebook ads and right out of Leadly. The dashboard has them in there. The AI is smart. It'll tell you what Facebook ads are working and what ads are not, and what you should spend more on and what you should spend more or less. Coaches use that all the time, and consultants. So that's another feature that's really helpful to them.
So what I'm also hearing you say is that lead generation is so much more than just training the bot to get a lead. Like, there's a marketing component in terms of making sure your offers are in maybe Facebook ads, and then I'm sure there's a real need for, once the business owner gets the lead, then what?
So once you get the lead, now this is where a lot of people struggle, is how do you nurture that lead? How do you convert that lead from a prospect? You got somebody that's interested, they visited you, they're obviously showing interest, and now how do you nurture them into a customer? Well, there's proven ways how to do it. We follow the path about how you take a customer from a cold call or a warm visit, and you turn them into a booked appointment. Either you can turn them into you could sell them your course, and that happens all the time, or you could turn them into a booked sales call. If you're selling a higher ticket item, then you make it easy for them to book a sales call with you and give them available time slots to do it. And then after that, you give them a video about what to expect on the sales call, nurture them, keep them warm. And then even after the sales call, if you did not close on them, we put them in another nurture campaign to keep them warm and remind them that we're here to help them, that coach can help them with their problems or issues.
So with Leadly, then, you're not only just something that a service provider for lead generation, but it sounds like you integrate a lot of other efficiency tools with the newsletter and things like that. So are you saying that if someone's using Leadly, then they don't need a MailChimp or a MailerLite, or does it manage that and a CRM and that Facebook ads and all the things?
That's correct. And their social media posting as well. We have a social media posting calendar in there, and most people, like I just had a client that converted yesterday, that my sales team, they said the client was paying $1,500 a month for a agency to create newsletter post for them weekly on their social media pages. Well, that was being done by a bot at $1,500 a month. Well, we were able to integrate that. That saved them $1,500 a month with Leadly. But yes, it's a customer relationship manager. And in your dashboard, you get to manage your Facebook ads. You get to manage your social media calendar posting. It is AI smart, and it uses AI for everything that it knows what needs to be done, and it shows you what is going to be posted. So you get to approve it before it actually posts it. But it's all in one. It's very I've integrated everything possible into it to make it easy for small businesses to run out of one dashboard.
Well, that was one of the things I was going to ask you. Okay, so sometimes efficient doesn't always equate to easy. So how much of the heavy lifting, even though you're doing so much of it and the AI is such an integral part of it, how much heavy lifting has to happen on, like, if it's a small business owner? Do they need a team member that manages this? Is it good for solopreneurs? Is it, like, what type of business is a good target for this in terms of support?
Yeah, that's a great question. So solopreneurs are, of course, they always need something like this in automation in the back end, and this is perfect for everything from solopreneurs to one of our clients is a 25-person HVAC company with 7 trucks. They just have a problem with the back end, keeping the phone traffic, keeping the email inquiries and the social media traffic inquiries, having somebody manage all those. That takes 2 people, really, if you think about it. All that incoming phone calls, web traffic, emails. Leadly handles all that, and it puts them into a sequence of qualification. So if it's somebody, a new customer coming in saying, hey, my HVAC system broke down, Leadly's make sure they're in the right zip code, that they have a available schedule calendar that they can say, fit a time slot in. If not for a technician, for a service call, for a pre-booked service call, right? So you can have it so that it just basically takes care of the back office function that everybody's struggling to fulfill. There's so much incoming web traffic and chats and emails, and most people just ignore them. Like people on Facebook, you've seen it. People on Facebook are like, hey, can you answer a question about your company? Do you service the South Metropolitan region? Well, a lot of companies won't even answer that. Leadly will answer that for them on their Facebook pages and their social media pages, and it'll nurture them into becoming customers.
I think we're at a place where we're going to take our sponsor break, and then we'll be right back.
Okay.
The Ask Brien Show wants to say thank you to LegalSteps.com for sponsoring our show. It's Legal Steps with a Z, LegalStepz.com. I took the course recently, and I've told you before, obviously, I am not an entrepreneur, but to be able to sit down and take this course and really see what is offered through Legal Steps is pretty great. It's online courses. You can work at your own pace. So I was able to knock it out on a Saturday morning. The kids were asleep. The dog was just hanging out next to me, and I got it done in less than 2 hours. It's the courses are less than $150, so it's very affordable. Sometimes you might feel like, oh my gosh, I want to start my own business, but I don't have the money to do this. Well, for $150, you can at least get your foot in the door, get that first step going, and really see if this is something that you can, kind of pursue. All courses are reviewed by an attorney, so you know that you're in good hands. You're not just kind of Googling something blindly. You're going to be led by experts who have been doing this for over 30 years. And if you can't form a business after taking these courses, they're going to do it for you. So it's really a no-lose situation. What I liked best about the Legal Steps courses, first of all, you can pause, rewind, come back to it later on when it suits your schedule. You're going step by step. In fact, you get to see Peter's shining face right there on the computer screen, and he helps you through it.
That's worth it right there.
I mean, that's worth the price of admission, yes. And but it's really great. It's kind of like a screen sharing. So I can see what Peter's looking at, and I can have, my website set up or my, separate computer set up, and I can literally follow through step by step. It could not be any easier. There's also a workbook that you can download, take notes in it, highlight, scratch things out, do all sorts of work on there if you need to. It could not be easier for you. So go to legalsteps.com, LegalStepz, that's with a Z.com.
And they offer courses right now in trademark and
LLC, S corporation. Yeah, I was trying to, beat my chest a little bit last week. I learned what an S corporation was, and all of these great new things. But obviously, if you're looking into starting your own business, you should already know what an S corporation is. But you never know. You might learn something. I learned a couple of things. It was very informative courses. So go to legalsteps.com.
Wow, that's great. Thanks, Jen.
You bet.
Thank you, Legal Steps, for sponsoring our show. Tracy, you were still asking questions to Clayton. Clayton was like going, hey, are you going to stop me?
Well, I mean, you've given us so much great information. I mean, efficiency is so important, being able to combine all of these platforms into one. I know one of the things that I do as a business owner is I am constantly reviewing our recurring expenses. So those kind of things start to add up because you're paying one fee to this hosting platform or email newsletter campaign and another for this and a social media posting platform. And so it just feels like it's something that could really be advantageous to have this all under one roof. I guess my next question would be, because I'm thinking of this again as a business owner, how much support do you give in terms of training? Because one of the things I think is so, like that the next shiny object, business owners will be like, oh, I love this tool, and they sign up for it, and then they never end up actually really optimizing the use of it because they don't really know exactly what they're paying for or how to use it. So what type of training is involved?
So I'm glad you asked that, because we have one of the best ways that we can ensure that a customer uses the system, loves the system, and stays with us is to have what we call a white glove onboarding experience, which includes us doing the training sessions with them really as many times as they want. We find that about 2 half-hour sessions in the beginning to keep after we configure their system for them and get them all integrated and set up. Then we screen share with them 2 30-minute sessions, let them work on it for a little while. Then we come back for another 30-minute session. You can request a Zoom with us anytime you want. We're available, pretty much 24/7 for support, but also for training. We can do same day or next day training, and we find that most of the time, 2 30-minute sessions for web screen, and we show them how to navigate the system, and then a follow-on 30 minutes. So it's usually about an hour and a half we spend with most clients. If they want more, we're certainly glad to give it. It's a very easy, intuitive system.
Well, so that leads me to, I'm known to pivot, so work with me here. So let's pivot into your infrastructure. So what type of team have you needed to build out to be able to accommodate scaling the leadly.com?
Well, so, thanks for asking that one, because in order to be successful and not have angry clients, or we used to call them angry birds, and turn people into yelling at you, that's my nightmare that would keep me up at night. In order to have happy customers that stay on board with you, you have to have a good team. And the first thing I did before I even thought about launching anything was go out and hire the best developers and support staff that I could find. And I was lucky enough to find a really good team of winners that love working together and love developing Leadly and helping customers. And that took 6 months to do that, to get the team on board and then start configuring the app and the integrations and all the features and the website and the email campaigns. It took 6 months, and I won't tell you how much money, but luckily I have, having just exited CTC, I was okay to fund it myself. But I am really good at this. I've done this before. I learned it in corporate America. Then I learned it in the hard way in entrepreneurial world for 10 years about how to build teams and launch apps and make it pretty and make the customer have a good customer user experience. And that's what we've done here. So it's really, we're getting a great feedback from our customers, and it's really great to hear somebody say, wow, that is cool. That just makes our day.
I think what you hit on is so important. I want to highlight it and have you expound on it a little more, is that when is the right time to scale your team in order to keep your clients happy and not disappoint them. There's such a fine line between growing too fast and then not being able to deliver on the products and services. What has been part of your learning curve through corporate and doing this that do you have a gut instinct about when the time is right, or is there something more statistical you can share?
Yeah, absolutely. And, in corporate America, they pre-plan in advance and they have the funds to do it. Small businesses don't have that luxury, but you have to have on your radar, because there is a moment of like being able to knowing that you're going to need somebody and already be on the hunt for somebody. So if you're in a small business and you're budgetarily constrained, which we all have been there and we know how it is, but you always have to keep in mind what I do is it's the last times I've done this and built my teams is I've gone out on LinkedIn and found targets of people that match the profile of who I would hire when I have the funds, right? So I'm always planning in advance, and businesses have to think in advance. Once they start getting that workflow in and the business starts growing like that, they need to have in mind where they're going to go to find new talent. And sometimes it's an agency. Sometimes it's LinkedIn is a really good, I call it LinkedIn poaching. I go out to my competitors. I look at their employees list, and then I'll find the ones who sometimes go to their social media pages, see, look like they're professional and they're dedicated to their work, and LinkedIn looks good. Then I put them on the list of somebody we'd like to reach out to in the future and offer them a job opportunity. And you've got to kind of think in advance when you're a small business owner like that. You can't wait until you're flooded with business and then you get angry customers. You got to be one step ahead of it. Even if it's just in the planning phase, right? You don't have the money, you don't have the business yet to afford it, but at least have a plan mapped out so that when you do have the money and you can afford it, that you can pull those triggers and onboard somebody quickly.
We're going to take a break. You're listening to KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're listening to the Ask Brien radio show on KHTS 1220 and 98.1 FM with our guest Clayton Turner. And Tracy, you're on.
Well, really who is on has been our amazing guest. And I often say on the show, we have a lot of people that are multitasking or driving in traffic or just doing all the things while they're listening to live radio. So I know that they're going to want to get back in touch with you or continue this conversation and likely want to sign up for your services because, wow, what a multifaceted, super exciting platform that you built, and what a great business development tool. So what is the best way for people to continue the conversation with you?
They can always email me directly at Clayton@leadly.com. That's Clayton at LEEDLY.com. You can reach out to me on the website, leadly.com. Start the conversation there with the bot. Tell them if you want to go right to me, you can tell them you want to speak to me or sales team. We'd be glad to give you a demo, show you how it works, show you the menus and the screens, and get you started with if you want to test drive it. Right now we're offering test drive for customers for 30 days. Make sure it works for you. Make sure you like it, and if you like it, then we love to have you and help. We love giving customers that wow experience.
Man, sign me up. I'm going to be reaching out to you after this show for that.
Okay. We're happy to do it.
Sold. We have so appreciated having you on the show. And for those of you who want to replay this, get this information again, dig a little bit deeper into the subject matter, don't forget that you can get all of this through our podcast, and that is the Ask Brien podcast. And, of course, that's ASKBRIEN podcast. And you can find it wherever you find all of your favorite podcasts. That's Apple, Spotify, iHeart. Wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, you can find the Ask Brien podcast. And I know we have a little bit of time left. And, Peter, you had a specific question that you wanted to ask that I think everyone wants to know the answer to.
So some of the things you were talking about was picking the team. And to me, as an entrepreneur, I think that's the hardest part. So what criteria do you use to decide picking the team? Because anyone can get a little bit of money and hire people. But if you don't hire the right people, you're not going to probably succeed. It's a very, very key thing to do. What do you look for when you're hiring people?
So since attention to detail is like one of the most important things you can do in most businesses, especially if they're dealing with customers and data and numbers and workflows. So the attention to detail, and really more importantly than anything, is get along well with others, meaning they love doing what they do, and they love helping customers, and they love working with each other to achieve a goal. And I have been doing this so long, I can sense by the getting the first 2 minutes of my conversation with somebody, I can sense their personality, their energy, their attitude. Within 5 minutes, I know for sure. And sometimes you don't make the right decision, but you got to make the call quickly to, what they say, fish or cut bait. If you have somebody on your team that realizes probably going to be a bad fit, it's best to turn and make a decision quickly and try somebody else. Because not everybody's meant to be in the same office together or in the same job, even though they applied for it, they went through your process and you hired them. If you find somebody's not a good fit, it's, don't wait and let it linger and just say, I'll do it later once I find somebody replacement. It's really, you need to make a decision quickly about somebody and their personality. And, you can assess somebody's personality pretty quickly by asking them, 5 or 10 good key questions about what they do, what they like to do, what they don't like to do. And it's, it becomes like people reveal themselves. Even if they have a polished answer, it's easy to determine if somebody's like being sincere.
All right. That was very good. I did want to have, we have about 10 seconds left. What's the biggest red flag on hiring?
Biggest red flag is when they have a list of demands of what they will or won't do, or times are saying, now you're going to be working for them. Now you're working for them. Right?
Or what about how much money does it pay? How much money does it pay?
Yeah.
Okay, so now
how much vacation do I get?
Yeah. There you go. That's a red flag.
Thank you very much, Clayton. Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you, guys.
You're listening to the Ask Brien radio show on KHTS 1220 98.1 FM. Over and out.